Okay. Lee, thanks for joining us. Of course, the curtain's coming down on Saturday. As we know, the sport of football is a high and low professional sport that everybody's involved in. But for you, at the end of the season, have you learnt a lot?
Yeah, I learned a massive amount. Obvious mistakes throughout the season, but it's important that you learn from them mistakes, not just the management team but the players as well. But you're learning all the time. I've had some really good conversations with managers, which I'm really thankful for, been ringing me, which I'm really thankful for, and giving me some sound advice. But yeah, if you're not learning, you're not going to move forward. So it's really important. Even if you're doing well, what can you still improve on? We were doing that last year when things were going better for us. You're always looking to improve yourself.
Being a manager of a football club is 24/7. You found that out, no doubt about it. And of course, there's one fixture to play, but again, will it be 24/7? Has the serious planning started for next time around?
Yeah, I can tell you it is 24/7. You very rarely get a day off in terms of what you're doing, which is expected being a manager of a football club. All the things that go with it, not just football, but the other bits and bobs that you have to deal with. But planning is in place. We're going to change around what we look like next year in terms of how we train, etc. So there's some planning gone into that. What pre-season looks like, what we're going to be able to do in terms of, are we able to go away somewhere to go away from the training ground, which would be nice. Planning obviously for players, who's going to be staying, who's going to be, what type of player we're going to be looking to going in. And we've just made sure we're on top of that, and it's intensified, that we can try and be a step ahead. I'm not saying the first week when the window opens we're going to be able to bring a load of players in, because realistically we're not, but we know what type of players we're trying to target, and we're working hard at it, and everyone says that they're working hard at it, but I can assure everybody we are working hard.
Do you know exactly where you stand, how clear it is to what's required to make it a positive season?
Yeah, absolutely. When it's not going the way you want it to go, it's quite easily to think you need to rip everything up and start again. We still have good players here. We've lacked a little bit of confidence over the last 6-7 weeks, which you can see. But we need to improve in certain areas, and that's what we're going to be looking to do. Like I say, I think we've got a sound base. It's easy when things aren't going well to start picking on negatives and players are this and players are that, and they're not. They're in tune with what we want to do, and the message will be quite clearly. If they don't think we can achieve what we want to next season, don't come back. Let us know. I'll be firm with that. But like I say, we've got a good bedrock of players here. We definitely know what we've got to improve on.
I can remember the Doncaster Rovers manager saying something similar when it happened to him in the playoff semi-final with yourself, when he said his players that he's bringing in and the players that are staying, if they don't want promotion, don't come in. I think you're exactly spot on with that. And what's your take on the players that are still going to be here, and obviously what you're looking to bring in? Is it a big rebuild?
Well, there's going to be a turnover of players, isn't there? 8-9 players. There's going to be, because obviously we have to utilise the loan market as well as we can, which has been a real plus for us over the last couple of years. So that there is going to be a turnover of players, but it's important that we get the right type of players. Because of our loans have done so well at the football club, you can imagine the amount of loan players that we get sent to us. The job of the recruitment team is to get them whittled down into the best situation we can be, which they will do because they're very good. I think their recruitment has been excellent since I've been manager, but it's about making calm decisions with that, because there is going to be a turnover of players. That's inevitable, again, because if you have 5 loan players, that's going to happen. Do we want 5 loan players all the time? As a club, you'd ideally say no, but where we sit means we have to utilise that market well.
Looking towards the weekend, of course, and players are missing through suspension, and it's not been the best of times for discipline. Is that something that you're going to concentrate on and get into your squad, because losing players doesn't help at all?
No, it doesn't, and we've lost too many players in terms of being able to pick them. throughout the season. We're right up there in terms of our discipline, being one of the poorest in the league, and it's not good enough, and there'll be new protocols in place for that for next year, to try and stop this, because ultimately the players that get suspended are harming themselves more than they're harming the team, because then it becomes difficult for them to get back in the team. They immediately harm the team on that day when it's happened. Too many yellow cards, too many fouls given away, and it's definitely an area that we're going to be looking at, because I can assure the fans, obviously the club don't want it to be that we're seen in that light. I don't think we're a dirty team by any stretch of the imagination. I think at times we made daft decisions in the heat of the moment, but there'll be new protocols in place to try and nullify that, and it'll be something I'll be right on top of next year.
Walsall, your final opponents, of course, is a massive game for them, but for you and your players, it's a chance to give the fans a send-off with a performance and a win going into the summer. Actually, give them a bit of hope.
Yeah, and I said that the other night. You've got to leave with the fans with a little bit of seed of hope in terms of what it might look like next year. Can't promise getting a win or anything like that. We'll be going all out to do that. Obviously, the team might look different again come Saturday. But it'll be a difficult game. They've got a lot riding on it. I think Walsall have had an excellent season. They've had the same old issue with goals. You take out their top goal scorer out of their team, they're hard to replace. They're really, really hard. And they've just had a bit of a fall off since Lowe's obviously left. But he's done a brilliant job. Again, not a massive budget. He's done such an excellent job at the football club, and I can imagine there'll be disappointment in terms of where they are now going into the game with us. But he has done a brilliant job, and it'll be a difficult game, and we've got to put on a good account of ourselves for the other teams that are trying to get into the position they're in as well.
Yeah, well, there's no place in the playoffs for your team at the moment for this particular season. What it is, though, is a fixture with plenty of riding, plenty of things that you can be looking at. Yeah,
Graham, I've been looking for the last 4 or 5 games. 5 games ago, you still got hope of getting into the playoffs. Still got that opportunity to get in the playoffs. But I was also thinking that I need to start thinking about what I need to look for and what I'm hoping for to bring for next season. And I've done plenty of watching in training, plenty of watching, not so much talking, a lot of watching. In terms of what I want to see from the players, and they know, and if they're unable to produce what I'm after, and then other people will. So it's a real opportunity for players to come Saturday, players that think they should be in the team more often to push that claim. Now I'm not saying they have to go out and score 4 or 5 goals because it's one game, but they have to show and look like I want it to look. Just one last question for you before we get into the game, of course, at the weekend when we'll speak after the final whistle's blown. What's that message then to the supporters? It's a big disappointment at the end of the season for everybody, but what's that positive message? Yeah, look, it is a real disappointment. No one's hurting more than me, I can assure you of that, in terms of how the performances and the league positions tailed off. But they've been magnificent with me, and I'm not just saying that well done, and they've been magnificent. I've worked ever so hard to try and get the club in a position where everyone's moving in the right direction, and I can assure them I've done it before and I'll do it again. I'll get it right next season. We'll get some players in that hopefully can excite the fans, and we'll have a push for it again. But they have been truly magnificent, and after Saturday, when the dust settles, a bit of reflection on the season from everybody, a bit of perspective on it, and hopefully we can all be going in the same direction next year, looking to be in a much more healthier position.